I'm Kier.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Jay from Gallifrey Public Radio,
a podcast member of the GonnaGeek network.
Just like the one you're listening to right now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
You are listening to the Starling Tribune, a podcast dedicated to the Arrow TV show.
This guy gets more airtime than the Kardashians, right?
This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, situations, and stories are the properties of Time Warner. I am Oracle, and this is your Tribune.
And your reporters for this special summer Blab preseason 4 edition of the Starling Tribune, covering off-season developments and announcements leading up to season 4. I am Stargate Pioneer. My friends call me SP. And with me are Chris.
I'm not the Arrow anymore.
And Lobster.
Hey, guys.
This podcast is recorded on Friday, September 11th, 2015. We are just a few guys discussing the TV show Arrow. Just a little reminder, I am not a comic expert. I'm actually a sci-fi guy, but I'm catching up because of these great guys that I'm podcasting with. And we have our resident comic Arrow geek. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic.
And then we have a guest host this week. His name is Lobster. He has done such great GonnaGeek.com podcasts such as Gotham Nightline and Crimson Comet. How you doing?
Good. I'm very excited to be on Starling Tribune once again. I think the last time I was here was the crossover episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sounds about right.
Crimson Comet, Starling Tribune, Arrow Flash crossover. It's the last time I was here.
Yeah, and we are using this special, unique platform called Blab, which means our fans can actually chime in anytime they want to. There's an open seat. They can come on in and join the conversation. So it is open, and I will let you in. I will warn you, if you don't talk about Arrow and you don't talk about anything that we're not interested in, I'm going to boot you out. Going to say thank you very much. Good night. But if you want to talk about Arrow, we'll let you on. So there you go. Now, we have done 2 summer podcasts, really. We did one post-Comic-Con, and then we did one after the first trailer was released last week. And there's just so much going on that we just had to get in and talk about it. So, Chris, is there anywhere that you want to start, or do we want to turn the floor over to our guest?
Let's turn it over to our guest, because I know he's got some notes, and I don't.
Oh, man. Well, the first thing I want to ask you guys, are you going to rename your podcast? Because Starling City is getting a facelift. They will now be Star City.
So funny enough, you should mention that, because we talked about that in the first summer podcast. And while we're recording it, I went online and I bought the domain starcitytribune.com, which already maps and forwards to starlingtribune.com.
So we're good
You
either
guys
way.
are set. You guys are set.
I was shocked that it was still available. I was like, oh, this won't be there. And I typed it in and I just started to laugh. And I was like, okay, bye.
And so, like, that goes back to one of the things when the show first started is traditionally in the comics, it's Star City. Right. And people were like, oh, well, they're calling it Starling City. And that's just, they're just trying to be different from the comics or make it more realistic. But no, like, they're actually making the progression to showing it becoming Star City. And that was last season, that was Ray's big pitch, right?
Yeah, that's what he hinted at. And it appears from the trailer that they renamed the city in his honor since he died at the end of the 3rd season.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wonder if we'll see some character growth as far as he's concerned.
Oh, well played.
So what we're going to have to do is we're going to talk to our co-host and graphic artist, that's Mr. J, and see if he can rename the actual logo Star City Tribune. And if so, then we're all good.
If so, I think we should do it around the time episode 1 launches.
Which is October?
Yeah.
7th, 8th, something like that.
7th?
Oh, come on, guys. Yeah. Okay, so when's the Flash?
I know it's the day after the Flash premieres. Yeah, it's the day after that. We're good. Do you want to run down? I mean, so this is, can you guys fill me in on maybe, because I don't know if I have not listened to the last two of your kind of like summer rundowns. But what are the major points that you've hit so far from?
So let's see. In the last summer rundown, we talked about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I did. I listened to a little bit of that. Yeah, and I thought, okay, I'll get caught up, see what they talked about, and then they're like Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. I'm like, okay, cool.
It was the first time we used Blab, and then everyone started throwing other topics at us. I'm like, I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh crap, we're supposed to be talking about Arrow. But
somebody asked me about Stargate to start off, but what we really did was have it for the fans. This is still for the fans. I will reiterate, please come on. If you have something to say, just hop on. We'd be glad to talk to you. I'll let you in. There is a fourth open seat. And the first one, Neil did it like a complete rundown of all the stories and stuff like that.
Right.
And then last one, we talked about the trailer. And I think we talked a little bit about the Magneto helmet.
Yeah, we called it a Magneto helmet, but that can be repeated. I'm cool with that.
Everybody knows that it's Magneto. I've even seen him photoshopped in with the X-Men. He fits right in. And somebody pointed out, I think it was Kier from GPR, pointed out that that's actually like the classic Spartan helmet design. So it's fairly common going back even several millennia. So it's not, I mean, Magneto doesn't own it, I suppose, but that looks cool. Have you seen the side-by-side comparisons of Diggle with the outfit and kind of his like streetwear? So it makes a lot more sense, I think, for him especially, that it's like he puts the jacket and the helmet on and he's, I don't know, the Guardian, who knows what they're going to call him. And then he just takes it off and sticks it in the trunk of his car, and he's back to regular old Diggle.
So, interestingly enough, Lauren and I just rewatched X-Men First Class.
Yes.
This past week for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the Marvel Comic Universe podcast on the GonnaGeek Network. And at the very end, you see Magneto getting the helmet and then taking it from Shaw, right? But then the last scene before the credits, you see it all painted up.
Yeah, he repaints it, yeah.
So who painted it? I mean, who did the airbrush?
I don't know.
While it was on him, or because Professor X was in the hospital, maybe he was laid up on some morphine, and so Magneto could take off the helmet?
He's like, I really want red and purple. That's what I'm going for. That's the look, it's the look that I want.
See, how he could have done it is a lot of the brushes like I used in school, they were the wood stick, but they had the metal piece used to crimp on the hair. He could hold that with his magnetic powers, just sit there painting his own helmet in a mirror.
Perfect.
It's an exercise in control. And we all know Magneto has fine control over his powers.
He does.
And I'm talking out my butt right now.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so we talk about Diggle. Obviously, Oliver is getting a new suit. But there's kind of something else that I want to talk about, and it's why I wore this shirt today, because I knew this was a video medium. So where's he?
Might be listening to the audio later. He has a Green Lantern.
I have a Green Lantern shirt on. Yeah. In the second trailer that just dropped yesterday, we see a little bit of retired life, I guess you want to call it, for Oliver. He's at least on hiatus.
He's enjoying his lady.
He is, and they're hanging out in Coast City, of all places.
Imagine that.
We're being led to believe. So, do you think we're going to see any Easter eggs, references to the Man with the Ring?
I'm sure we'll get some Ferris Air references again. And also bear in mind, I think the flashbacks this season are also supposed to be taking place in Coast City.
Yeah.
So throughout all of this, we might be able to get some references. They're definitely going to sprinkle in the Easter eggs. So that's what these guys do, is Easter egg the hell out of us with stuff. And so all the nerds are going, like myself, are going, woo! Stuff like that.
Yeah. Even up to the point where everyone was like, oh, is John Diggle John Stewart? Are they going to go there?
God, I was hoping he was John Stewart Diggle.
They said no, like at the beginning of season 3, but I don't know. They're getting kind of close to it.
They're getting there. And speaking of Ring, we did get a glimpse in the last trailer of Oliver and Felicity, and he had some cupcakes. Maybe he was going to put a ring on one.
That's sure what it looked like to me.
Ring in one, maybe? I always like that. Like
it's a
you're
choking
eating.
hazard.
Yeah, right.
Come on, what are you doing?
But I mean, if you want to make sure you're marrying the right person, you got to make sure she's careful about what she's eating.
What she puts in her mouth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
right. Because
call.
if she is the girlfriend or wife of a superhero, you got to be careful about being poisoned
Yep.
or sharp objects in your food. So you got to figure that stuff out.
But as it goes with most proposals, it's interrupted by your sister and your ex. They show up, and
Your ex that if they follow canon, you're supposed to marry one day.
right, that they are going to take him back to Star City because things have taken a turn for the worse.
Because they need the arrow.
And the tagline on the last trailer was "Embrace your dark side," but they didn't spell dark with an H in the middle there.
I was hoping they would, like
Yeah.
Damien Dark. But,
Damien Dark.
well,
Neil
they've made the
McDonough.
point in that trailer. It's all about Oliver thinking that he can't be the hero he once
Mhm.
was without embracing his darkness. So we're kind of stepping back to that theme again,
Yeah.
which could be okay. I just hope they don't have him be like, oh, I've got to be a hero, so now I can't be friends with anyone again. Because I think last season kind of taught him that lesson of you can mix both.
And clearly he has, he shoots an arrow at the guy, but speaking of Magneto, he stops it in.
People are catching arrows left and right in this show. I mean, this is no big surprise.
But he doesn't catch it. He just no, he Neos it. He's
The
like,
power of the
no.
Force,
They're
my
all
friend.
CGI anyway. So, I mean,
Right.
come on.
Because
Let me
he's
ask you this,
the
Lobster.
Sith Lord.
So, yeah, we've got, the season one. Have you been watching since the beginning of season one?
Oh yeah, I'm OG Arrow fan.
Okay. So what season were you most excited about? Were you excited about season 1, 2, 3, or 4 before they came out?
Before I watched them.
Yes. In the summer or leading up to it.
Huh.
So
Probably season 2, because I had watched season 1, kind of sensed where it was going, and then I was like, I figured they're going to bring Slade back and all of that, and I was excited to see that play out.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, you're season 3.
I'm saying season 3 just because season 2, everything was hitting on all cylinders at the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't wait to see where they go from here.
Right.
They've got all this awesomeness they just did with Slade,
Right.
taking stuff to the island, the relationship with Barry, them being like super bros now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't wait to see where they go with this. And
Yeah.
I don't mean it as your critique, but I don't think season 3 lived up to my expectations I had of it going in.
Uh-huh.
It was still good, but it
'Cause
wasn't
they-
as good as
They
season 2.
killed him off in the middle there.
Exactly.
They kind of took a turn for the worse.
He had magic herbs that magically cured falling
Yeah.
hundreds of feet down a cliff.
Sure. I mean, yeah. So there were a couple moments in there. Season 3, I think, still I really enjoyed. I probably have enjoyed the season 3 flashbacks more than any season to date.
With the whole thing with the kid dying and everything?
I mean, they still found a way to work it into the main plot line, because you had those characters coming back, and understanding their motivations was really, really important for understanding the choices that they made. So I was okay with that.
Okay. I will say
I don't want to say too much about previous seasons, because I feel like this season, again, they're shifting in tone, they're expanding the universe in so many crazy ways. Like there's now 4 other shows that are directly tied to it, and
Okay.
maybe
So
Supergirl.
the 4
Okay.
4 other shows.
Yeah,
Flash,
The Flash, Vixen,
Vixen.
Legends of Tomorrow,
Okay.
Constantine, which is canceled, but they're bringing the character in.
Okay, I'll give you
and
that.
maybe we're going to see something with Supergirl. So they're that's, I count those all as part of the same universe. So
And for those of you that don't know, Vixen, as Adam put in the chat,
Yes.
is the animated show on CW Seed.
right.
With everyone voicing their characters
Yeah.
from the live action shows.
And if you have not heard Stephen Amell voice act his character, go play, what is that? Lego, what is
Yes.
Right.
Lego Batman 3.
it? Lego Batman 3. It's awesome.
So again, I feel like this season, I think probably when the show is off the air and we look back on it, we'll start to see them kind of do these, like, I feel like season 1 through 3 makes a perfect arc, right? And then this, it feels like a new beginning with this show. Again, new costume, they're renaming the city, they're expanding, all of this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits in and really how the tone of the show may or may not change. Can we talk about another development with Oliver's character that I feel like they're going to...
Before we go on to that, I'll just say that I was brought on to the podcast by Wing in the middle of season 2, and I wanted to watch the show from the beginning, so I did. So I didn't get caught up until the summer between season 2 and season 3. So I was really excited about season 3. But between season 3 and season 4, I'm more excited for season 4 than season 3. And I think it has something to do with the expanded universe, because you do have all that. I mean, I love the big universe. I love the connected storylines. It really gets me into it. So I love that. And before we get to your point, I just want to point out to everybody listening that you are listening to the Starling Tribune podcast on the GonnaGeek.com network. It is a network of geeky shows such as the Crimson Comet and the Walking Dead podcast, and All Things Good and Nerdy, and Arthouse Legends. It's 17, 18, 19 shows full of awesomeness. So just go check it out. That's GonnaGeek.com. And we are really streaming on Blab, but you can find us live at GonnaGeek.com/live. So Lobster, what did you want to talk about?
Okay, so I don't know how much we're going into spoilers or potential spoilers. I will put up a disclaimer and say that I have not seen any episodes or read any scripts for the new season. So I know as much as you know, but here's what they're saying.
So speculative spoilers are fair game. I have no issue with that. Speculative.
Okay. So episode 1 of season 4 is called Green Arrow. Episode 2 is called The Candidate. Now, there is a lot of speculation. And again, at the point that this you're listening live, I might be a couple days late on the news. But the speculation is that Oliver himself is going to run for mayor of Star City, which is something that Oliver Queen did in the comics twice. He ran for mayor. And Jerry Ryan, for you Star Trek Voyager, Boston Public fans, going all the way back to Dark Skies, all the cool stuff she's done.
She's also in Warehouse 13.
In Warehouse 13. It is believed, will be playing his opposition as someone who was actually close with Moira.
She's a friend of the family from everything I've read.
So that could be kind of the Oliver backstory for the season. So you'll have the candidate Oliver, you'll have the Green Arrow, and we're still getting more flashbacks in this season. So
okay, so I forget, but Mark Guggenheim has come out and he said that they had a vision for how many seasons when they started. I believe it was 7.
Okay,
if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken on that, but obviously they definitely have 5 because they have 5 years of flashbacks that they can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and the flashbacks don't necessarily have to correlate with the season. So you could actually grow that. Like 1 season of Arrow, 1 year of Arrow could be half or a quarter year of flashback.
Sure.
So you're not limited to 5 years of the story.
Well, eventually he's got to get back on that island, I guess. I mean,
he does. But it was nice in the flashbacks that, he started going back to Starling City.
Yeah. So, okay, so we've got candidate Oliver, and again, I think that's it makes sense for them to kind of go that route, because if it's about him becoming a better hero, it's also maybe about him, and he's kind of like embracing that like better part of himself. So maybe he's like, well, maybe I'm going to become the mayor, and then I don't have to be the Arrow because that's how I can help people. Or maybe I'll be mayor, and then the problems I can't fix as mayor, I'll just get my bow and arrow and go out.
Or I'll get my team to go after it.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about the team, because obviously Oliver and Felicity have left. They are living the American dream, and that leaves Diggle, Thea, Laurel in Star City, kind of doing the superhero game. So who among those 3 do you see taking the lead?
from my standpoint, I'll say Laurel, because Diggle is in there too, but he just doesn't seem like a front man to me. Now, Laurel is a lawyer. She basically became the DA at the end of season 3. She's in that leadership position in the city to begin with. I think she's got it, and Thea's just too young, too inexperienced, and she's got all that head crap with her dad going on. That's just my opinion.
And being dunked in a Lazarus pit.
Yeah. Get a little cray.
Yeah, I'll mess you up. Being dead and all. So, yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to see Laurel taking the lead. And we know that Laurel has an addictive personality, right? She gets hooked on stuff. She gets hooked on the rush. And I could see her not only getting hooked on being the leader, but having a tough time giving it up if Oliver comes back. I think we saw that a little bit when kind of everybody thought he was dead. But because that's when she kind of came into her own as Black Canary.
Yeah.
That's what some people say. I'm still not quite sure she's there yet.
She does not have the experience that Oliver does. So in that respect, I just don't think she can do it. And Diggle has extensive special ops experience,
right.
A lot of combat experience, but he doesn't have like superhero experience, and he doesn't have any superpowers himself.
Right.
Well, I almost think he'd be getting more involved is because it's kind of like a metaphorical F you to Oliver after walking away from it, and the fallout that they had is that I'll take and continue this mission that we were doing together that you've turned your back on. Because remember, he was the first member of Team Arrow. They were in it together, and now Oliver's kind of just left.
Retired. Take his chick and leave the city.
That's right.
I mean, he's still got millions. He's just poor in Queen comparison, not necessarily compared to the rest of us.
Yeah, he's still got all those. We got to go back to the mansion at some point in time because there's loads of stuff that he can pawn off there, right? Got a lot of cars in the garage, just like with
the mansion's empty though. Remember, they cleared it out at the end of season 2.
No, they just put blankets over everything. It's fine. They just moved out.
Okay. Well, I mean, Thea's probably still got access to Malcolm Merlin's millions anyways.
Right. I was just going to say, remember Malcolm's digs when they went into his garage? I mean, it was all still there.
Speaking of Malcolm, what do we think that the new head of the demon is up to?
No good.
No good. No good will come of this.
I think you're going to have... We all know Damien Dark's coming to Starling City.
Right.
We all know that Malcolm is leading the league as Roz or Raish, depending. So there's going to be a conflict that takes place, and I bet Starling City gets stuck in the middle, and the Green Arrow specifically gets stuck in the middle.
As per usual. So Damien Dark is... The backstory from last season was that he was Ra's al Ghul's rival, right? They both aspired to be Raish, but Raish got it, and Dark took off and founded Hive, Hive.
Yeah, we got Hive coming this year, right?
Those are his evil minions, and also in the flashbacks, they're bringing up, I think it's called Shadowspire, which is the group led by Baron Reiter, who in the comics is Baron Blitzkrieg. So he's going to be the villain in the flashback. So you've got two evil organizations being introduced this season, which may or may not be connected.
Well, and while we're talking about Roz/Raish real quick, did you guys see the interview that John Barrowman did that explained away why it was pronounced 2 different ways in season 3?
Yeah.
It was pretty quick thinking off the top of his head to BS away.
So what was it?
Basically, the takeaway was that the pronunciation really hadn't been given to them, so they started saying it as a Raish. Specifically, he started saying it, and the League of Shadows members started saying it before others that were not members of the League started saying Roz. So they've retconned it to be those that call him Roz are doing it that way to disrespect him on purpose.
Oh.
They're external to the League, whereas those that call him Raish know the proper pronunciation or giving him the respect properly due. It's very quick and witty. I think it was Dragon Con. He came out with that.
It's like pronouncing the T at the end of Voldemort.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't necessarily know if it's at the top of his head because he actually geeks out. He gets in the character. He geeks out about the character that he's playing, right? I don't necessarily know if he was a comic fan before he started this stuff.
But I'm sure he's a fan of his character now.
Right. Of course he is. I mean, the whole Torchwood thing is probably not going to happen again for him. He's a wonderful Captain Jack, but I think he's really taken a hold of this and riding it as far as he can, because it is a great role for him. I really, actually, as much as you just want him to go away or die or whatever, at the same time, he's such a great character to see on screen. It's like, no, well, go away. No, I want you here. No, I just, well, okay. We'll just deal with him.
I love when you have a villain that you absolutely hate, but then you realize you need him. Now we got to deal with this guy. Come on, Loki, Magneto. Ugh. Now we just bring him back, and then you're like, oh, then he does something completely reprehensible. Then it turns out he did it for a good reason. Yeah,
so I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately, and I just watched The End of Time on the Doctor's Finest on BBC America, because they're throwing all the 8 or 10 best episodes of the Doctor Who reboot out there. And so, first of all, Captain Jack was in a small clip at The End of Time when Tennant was saying goodbye to everybody. But then also the Master in The End of Time, who's, this anti-doctor, comes in and actually saves the day at the end. I mean, it was a quid pro quo. If you have never seen it, it's great, where the doctor is trying to kill somebody, and then he finally tells the Master, get down, and he takes care of something, and then the Master turns around and says he's gonna looks like he's gonna fire on the doctor. He says, get down, and then he takes on the Time Lord. So yeah, it's that bad villain that you need in order for the hero to actually win.
Yeah, so that's great, and I'm glad they're going to keep him around, and they've said you're going to see more of Nanda Parbat, which is good. I hope they keep those sets around that they built, because those will come in handy. We know at some point they need to go back to the Lazarus Pit, because they've got to bring back a canary.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I believe, how Constantine is going to fit in, because, well, Thea was dying. She wasn't dead, right? She's mostly dead.
Almost dead.
Almost dead. Not dead yet. But Canary is pining for the fjords, right? She is bleeding deceased. Yeah. And to the point that they had her in a chest freezer in the Arrow Cave, if I'm not mistaken, sometime during season 3. Well, she's petite, she just fits right in there. So Constantine, being familiar with dealing with more supernatural, spiritual elements, I think is going to get called in to play a hand in the reanimation of.
So, question for you guys: for our fans, if you have not watched Constantine, and Constantine is going to be in this season, do they need to go back and watch Constantine, the show that was on NBC last year?
I doubt it. They'll do enough in Arrow to establish that, hey, this guy's an expert on demonic and supernatural activity. I mean, it's the same thing they were going to do last season when Stephen Amell floated the idea of wanting John Constantine to appear on Arrow.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I don't think they're going to tie it too directly to the Constantine show, which again was kind of buried by NBC. I don't think they're going to make it required viewing. And if they do, it's not, I don't know if it's that easy to get a hold of to watch anyway.
I don't think it's out anywhere yet. I mean, imagine they'll release a DVD or Blu-ray at some time or put it on Netflix, but as of right now, I think the only way you could get it is maybe if you bought through iTunes or Amazon, individual episodes.
I think that is the biggest mistake shows make, is that 30 to 45 days out, they got to put their stuff on a free site, whether it's Netflix, which I will consider free,
right?
Because everybody has it.
Let me just complain about something here for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do another show on GonnaGeek called Gotham Nightline. We talk about Gotham. So Gotham has been off the air for a bit now, and before the season ended, there was this big news story that they signed the biggest deal signed yet with Netflix to get exclusive rights for Gotham to be on streaming on Netflix. Right. When is it coming to Netflix? The day the new season starts.
Mistake.
What the hell are you doing that for?
That's the mist that's going on all over now. Because if you remember, like season 1 of Arrow came to Netflix really fast.
Yeah.
Before season 2.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was on like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after.
Right.
It felt like.
The problem I ran into is season 2. They announced a release date that was like super quick after season 2 had been aired, and then they changed their mind after I had cleared off my DVR because I'm like, hey, these will be on Netflix. And my girlfriend's like, I want to watch Arrow now, so she powered through season 1, and I was like, okay, season 2 is supposed to be on Netflix. Oh no, they pushed it back a month, and at this point, they haven't even announced the release date for season 3 on Netflix. So,
okay, none of these shows are The Walking Dead. They're not Game of Thrones. They're not the shows that get between 10 and 20 million viewers a week, right?
Yeah, or like the most pirated shows, right? Which you just named are the ones that most people are getting illegally anyway.
I think Flash might be the most out of all these comic book shows that we're talking about. I mean, like superhero comic book shows, not The Walking Dead, where they're getting what, 6?
Well, it was the most watched show on CW.
Okay, but they're getting about 6 an episode, 6 million, I think was the thing. Whereas Arrow was getting 3 to 4. Gotham, even though it was on Fox, I think they were getting 4 or 5 at the end, whatever. So none of these shows are just big, huge shows. So what you want to do is they're great shows. So you want to grow your audience. And the only way to grow the audience is before the next season, you have all your friends saying, you got to watch the show. You got to watch the show. And then you put it on somewhere, like I said, quote unquote free. I consider Netflix free. I do not consider Amazon Prime free because not everybody has Amazon Prime.
Well, it's a big upfront cost too, right? To throw, what is it, $99 a year now?
Yeah,
but it's pay all at once.
It's $100 a year. So I have it and I use the crap out of it, mostly for the shipping. But I do watch some stuff on Amazon Prime from time to time. But that was not the appropriate place to put Defiance on to grow its audience. You need to put it on Netflix, like I said, 2 months, a month, 45 days before the next season to get everybody caught up so that when the next season premieres, it's boom, you got everybody with all the excitement going on.
I totally see where you're coming from too. And I think that the thing that irked me with Gotham is if you're not going to give it that much lead time, give more than 24 hours. Like there's 23 episodes or 22 episodes of Gotham. Like give at least people a day or two to watch it for heaven's sake.
You need at least a week, in my opinion. Because
I think the thing they're scared of is damaging DVD and Blu-ray sales by putting it on Netflix too soon, because that's exactly why season 2 of Arrow got delayed.
But if you want to increase your DVD sales for the next time, then you
or the people tuning in to watch the show.
Yeah,
DVD sooner.
I was just going to say, Adam has joined us, audio only. And how you doing, Adam?
Pretty good. I thought about joining earlier, but when you guys were talking about Constantine, I didn't watch the show, but I have a slightly different theory.
I watched the first episode and decided it wasn't for me. I liked the character, but I want to hear your theory though, like how he's going to fit in.
Well, I think that Malcolm is going to bring Sarah back to try to get Nyssa on his side rather than being a thorn in his side. And then when Arrow finds out about it, that's when he'll find Constantine to try to deal with the situation.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, I know we're delving into the more supernatural element, but it would be really freaky if he brings her back, but like not her soul, because she's departed, right? Like she's dead, and he reanimates the body, but it's just kind of like a husk, and they need someone who can actually commune with the spirit world and reunite her soul with her body.
That's actually sort of what happened with Oliver when he was resurrected in the Quiver arc.
Right.
Stephen Smith.
Either that, or I think they're going to follow kind of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer arc where she comes back but thinks that she came back wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not sure what path they're going to go. I'm very curious. And I honestly love the fact that they're bringing in Matt Ryan's John Constantine character for an episode. I think it opens up doors for him to potentially come back for future stuff.
Yeah,
and maybe even Legends of Tomorrow.
Right, exactly. I would think that would be a great place for his character eventually to end up. And they've kind of hinted at that. Legends of Tomorrow having a bit of a rotating roster, right? So you've got maybe Captain Cold or whomever for a season, but then they go away and then they bring somebody else new. Did you guys see Hawk Girl and Hawkman showing up?
I saw those pictures today. They looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're just going to go complete CGI for the wings since they weren't on there.
Yeah, they didn't have any wings, but yeah.
And with the Legends of Tomorrow thing, maybe next season the villain could be someone like Felix Faust or someone more mystical, and then the team dealing with him could be something like Constantine, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, and the Hawks.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. They've got to establish some of those characters first, but it would be really cool.
It's an awesome idea, right? So you got this ensemble cast of existing characters and side characters that might be going away from other of the shows, but if they ever have to drop a show, that they can always bring up a new show from this, somebody that's established themselves. It's a fan favorite. There's okay, we're going to give you a show, kind of like
Mockingbird.
Mockingbird
and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like Worf, hello. They brought Worf over to Deep Space Nine because people really liked Worf and it made sense.
Yes.
And Michael Dorn wanted work.
Michael
Dorn's
awesome.
Damn good at playing the character too.
Yes, indeed.
So I think that's cool that they are working out ways to be like, okay, that show was on NBC, it didn't work out over there, but we love the character and we want to give him a chance to shine here, and who knows what could happen later on. So
just looking forward to it. So Adam, you have joined us. Do you have anything in particular you'd like to say to the group?
Not off the top of my head, just those couple things.
Okay. Well, what is your take on the Magneto helmet?
Definite similarities, though not as much when we saw it in the trailer where it had the visor.
Yeah. The visor was totally Speed Racer to me.
Yeah,
do you think that it'll like snap on? It'll just be like visor. No visor.
I think it's going to slide down.
Oh,
yeah, probably.
Like
blast visor. Use the Force, Luke.
Just the blast helmet.
You guys gotta stop talking Star Wars. Going to send me off topic.
Okay, so, I want to bring in my Flash. I'm on Crimson Comet. So the Flash is very clearly setting up in the new season the multiverse, right?
Yes.
So you're going to have characters that might not exist in the prime Arrowverse, which again, when they set up the Arrowverse, it was very grounded in reality and you didn't have people with superpowers or anything like that. But first with the metahumans from the particle accelerator on the Flash and this new singularity bringing in people with powers, do you think that Arrow season 4 will be a more superpowered season going forward?
Yes.
Mark Guggenheim said, I think it was Mark Guggenheim, specifically said that he did not originally want any superpowers, but that he was being swayed because of the Flash to bring more super powered individuals in. And I think they're seeing the benefit of it. I think they're seeing the CGI is there for it because of the whole thing with the Atom. I think that we are definitely headed that way. I don't know if, there's realities, right? You're not going to be able to CGI every single episode in the entire season. Look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did a wonderful bringing in the Inhumans, but not every episode had a superpower, right? You had just a normal episode where you had just a few VR shots, and you're going to get that here as well. So it's not going to be a whole season stock full of it. I think Legends of Tomorrow will be different. I think you're going to see action packed throughout that entire show.
And they're doing a shorter season too, so they can theoretically get away with packing more stuff in.
Yeah, I hope they only do like a few episodes a season with powers on Arrow, since just keep it a little more separated from the Flash.
Right, yeah.
Different tones.
Very true. Very
Be a
true.
little bit like the Netflix Street Heroes are for Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I got a couple more things in my
Okay.
notes. A couple more people joining the cast. Rutina Wesley from True Blood is joining in an undisclosed role. They're being rather mysterious, but we've seen a picture of her in kind of like a body armor. It's not clear whether she's a soldier or works for the police, but so she's going to be on the show. Echo Kellum is going to join as Michael Holt, aka Mr. Terrific.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Double Down. There's going to be a flashback love interest for Oliver. There's going to be a new love interest for Thea. There's a lot of people that they've already cast that is going to kind of expand this scene a little bit.
So last episode, what we talked about was creating an assassin-based rock band because Thea's previous love interest did not work out and was the DJ for the club. And we're thinking there's going to have to be a live music aspect to the club.
A live act at the club. But of course, they're all either working for Hive or the League of Shadows or something like that.
So the question is, who would you cast in your all-assassin club band for Arrow?
Okay.
Well, the drummer would use daggers, obviously.
So who would that be?
Not sure. I'm not good with casting stuff, really.
Okay.
Who would I want? Okay, so
you could do anybody.
You
could do any instrument you want, but typically you're going to have a drummer, you're going to have a keyboard, you're going to have a lead singer, you're going to have a lead guitarist, and you're going to have a kind of a bass guitarist or a second guitarist. So that's like 5. You can mix and match depending on what kind of sound you want from
now.
Your
But am I
band.
drawing just DC or any?
No, it would be DC. DC
just
Assassins.
DC Assassins.
Yeah, we had fun with this last time. Wing went off the rails to start and said Desperado because they used gun case or the guitar cases as like guns and rocket launchers.
Like
and
that
stuff.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he started out and he said he wanted Deathstroke as the lead singer because you just need to have the biggest act up front.
No,
and I said
that makes sense.
I don't know if he has a lead singer voice.
I could see him being. I kind of want to do a female fronted act.
Okay.
And have Cupid. Right.
Ooh, good.
Be the lead. I think
maybe the violin or the fiddle or something.
No, but maybe like a No Doubt kind of vibe with her, right?
Okay.
I mean, so then I think backing her up, you could have Deathstroke. I would put him on probably drums, right? Because he carried 2 swords, so it makes sense that he's used to using both hands, right?
Okay.
And let's see. I would put Diggle on keyboard, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
I feel like he would just be good at that.
Well, in the comics, Black Canary is the lead singer of a band right now.
Oh, she's got the voice.
She does. She has the Canary Cry.
Yeah.
And then who could we round it out with as
Cajun Sean in the chat said Jericho playing the trumpet. Just kidding.
I could, yeah.
Well, Slade did say he had a son back in season 1 in the flashbacks, so that's possible.
True.
I want to bring Ra's al Ghul back from the dead, and have him play lead guitar, and I want to have two guitar players, okay, and Barrowman, Malcolm Merlin. So you got 2 guitar players, you got Cupid on vocals, Diggle on keyboard, Slade Wilson on drums, and I think
Canary as a backup singer or as a duo.
Maybe both Canary sisters and Thea are the. So again, like this is a big act. It's like Arcade Fire.
Or a battle of the bands between the Assassin Band and the Heroes Band.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
You could do both. They do that on the singing contest shows, like they'll mix and match or whatever.
I mean,
like
really,
it.
we're just talking about like Scott Pilgrim, which is awesome. But
That's true.
I mean, that's superheroes, rock bands, it all works.
Yeah. So before we round out the official podcast, did you have anything else to say, Lobster?
Do you guys know that there's a new co-showrunner for Arrow?
No,
this,
who is it?
This new season? So Wendy Miracle,
who
is producer and co-writer and has worked on the show since the beginning, is taking over as a co-showrunner. So she'll be executive producing as well, which is awesome.
I did know that.
And let's see. Can I throw out a couple rumors?
Go for it.
That we
might towing the line with roommates. I don't know. Yeah, go.
Rumors. One is that Ray leaves Palmer Tech to Felicity.
I've heard that one before
too.
Well, that's already there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
that was in season 3.
Yeah, he had her sign the documents, and she didn't read it.
Right. Oh, that's right. Okay,
yeah.
So she takes over Palmer Tech.
She doesn't know it, but she is.
Right. So that could put her on par with Oliver financially and whatnot.
And she's his sugar mama now. I think
a true marriage of. Well, yeah, that's a good.
I think that came up in Comic-Con.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they had to come back to Star City is because that they figure out that with the explosion and everything, she has to come back and assess the damage and stuff.
Yeah, it could be.
So you guys, sounds like you guys are pretty well caught up. I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Well, we can keep talking after we throw it out in the post show. We'll still be available.
Yeah. Okay.
Adam, do you have anything else?
No, not really.
All right, Chris.
I got nothing.
All right. So, Lobster, I cut you off. Were you going to say anything in particular?
No, are we ending the show or?
Yeah, well, what we're going to do right now is we're going to end the official show.
Okay.
But
before the official show ends, I want to, since you brought me on as a guest, I would be remiss if I didn't throw out a plug for one of my other shows, also on the GonnaGeek Network. I am on a show called Arthouse Legends, and we do classic and independent films, and we give our critiques of basically the movies everybody says are the best.
It's an in-depth critique.
Yeah, and we do our best to kind of bring it up to speed and say, well, okay, maybe not, right? So last year in October we did a special theme month. This year we are bringing it back. Arthouse of Horror is returning to the GonnaGeek Network, and we have 4 weeks of horror movies and a bonus episode lined up for this October, and we are starting things off with the late great Wes Craven and A Nightmare on Elm Street. So look for that in October. Arthouse of Horror. It's going to be on our regular podcast stream, so we're pretty excited.
I applaud the Wes Craven art. Very well done this year. Very well. Hey, Adam, since you joined us and you're here at the end, where can people find you?
Mostly just on, Facebook, Twitter, the usual.
Well, don't sell yourself short, sir. They can find you every week somewhere. So go ahead, out with it.
Oh, yeah. I do a segment on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. for all of the S.H.I.E.L.D. comic books. And in September, there is at least one S.H.I.E.L.D. book coming out every week because of their 50 years of S.H.I.E.L.D. one-shots. I actually just wrote the script for my recording for the Quake one-shot at the beginning of your podcast.
Can't wait for it. So, yes, you can hear Adam every week on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. in our comic book segment. Both Adam and Neil have... Neil is also a co-host of Starling Tribune. He just couldn't make it tonight. He had a gala he had to go to. So,
fancy.
So fun.
So we called in Lobster as our hired gun, and thank you very much, Lobster.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yes, and Adam, we can find you on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the Weekly S.H.I.E.L.D. review. So, Chris, where can people find you, sir?
You can find me on the Twitters at Roundtable Nerds and just podcasting all over on the GonnaGeek Network over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
He's just everywhere, folks.
I do too much.
And you also, stem from the days of the Fanboy Buzz too. So you've got some.
I was
legs.
unofficially inducted as a host of the Fanboy Buzz in its last episode when it promptly then died. So I'm not sure you want to consider me an official host of the Fanboy Buzz.
Anyway, it has been fun podcasting with you gentlemen tonight. Thank you very much. We will try to be back maybe even next week and keep this slot open because in October it's going to start the actual big fun. Stay tuned. We will have a post show. And I just want to say thank you to all our live chat listeners. We really appreciate you being around. And also, does anybody have any last words? At StarSaber222.
Felicity.
At Jonah Lobster.
Cupcakes.
At Roundtable Nerds.
Green.
And I can be found at Stargate Pioneer, and I will go with Olicity. This is Ben.
This was the Starling Tribune. You can leave us feedback at GonnaGeek.com or check out our archive at StarlingTribune.com. Visit GonnaGeek.com for more podcasts. Music by Kevin McLeod can be found at Incompetech.com. This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, stories, and situations are the properties of Time Warner. No infringement is intended. We will see you for the next episode of CW's Arrow.